Hey everyone, Jim T. Graham with RCGroups.com. You know, I want to start off right at the front of this podcast and say thank you to our podcast sponsor, Hobby King at hobbyking.com. Jason, you tend to post a lot of Hobby King news press releases. Can you, off the top of your Jason Cole amazing flight mind, high level of 3D precision, cell plane capability, can you come up with the latest thing that you've talked about with Hobby King?
Oh, what would it be? Probably the tiny hoof.
The tiny hoof.
Tiny hoof.
Now, this was a phenomenon when it was a cornbread home fixins type of device that you kind of made on your own. And I think people really love stuff like that because they take a thing and make it a different thing. I'm the worst at doing that to anything, but this is kind of a new version of that.
Yeah, well, it's like the ultimate like indication of what we do as hobbyists. It's like, I've got this busted up quad. What do I do with it? I'm gonna make a hovercraft out of it.
Okay, let's go find it. Let's just go straight into the podcast here. And I saw that. So this is a thing that you scratch built and showed us one day on the podcast, but now it's a thing you can just
Well, they've got, so I think I wrote an article on it originally when it first came, when I first saw it. Somebody had created it. I don't remember their name. It's on the article. It's on RCGroups. But it was a they had a template, you could cut it out of foam, or they had 3D printed STL files. So you could print the parts and add your own gear and make it. I've got the Hobby King story. Right here. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go. So the Hobby King Tiny Hoover kit. So this one appears to be a foam kit, and it has all the foam parts. And the foam ones are actually higher performance than the 3D printed ones because the 3D printed ones are much heavier. Maybe more durable. I don't know. But the foam ones like this have a lot of power. I've seen guys jump in them and get in air and catch an air for a good little bit. They just seem to do a little bit better than the 3D printed stuff. So
let's watch the video.
Here's the video. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Woo, there it is. Guess who's back? Back again. RCGroups. So you get on a hard surface. These things scoot. Hey, Katie. We don't really need to
Katie and Nick, such great people.
So you use some Uhu pour right there, some contact adhesive glue. You put it together.
Okay, so here it is.
Take your, there's all kinds of. It doesn't have to be a Indutrix anymore. Any of these micro indoor drones will work. You just take the guts. Stick it in there, wire it up, and then you've got your own tiny hovercraft.
This would be a great project for a kid or a Boy Scout, or you actually have to do something here. That's amazing.
They're just so different and fun, and it's I'm really amazed at the popularity, how they picked up once it started getting out.
How much does this kit cost? It can't cost much.
It doesn't cost much at all. It's $9.99. You're just talking some foam parts, but you got to provide your own drone electronics.
It makes me want to have some sort of contest. I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, man. But think about Triple Tree inside the hangar. What kind of a race course you could set up.
Yeah.
That epoxy floor is awesome.
Link to the product is down below. I'm Katie from Hobby King.
All right, Katie. Bye-bye. So there you go. Let me...
Who is Katie? Have you seen Katie before?
I have not met Katie. I believe she sounded
Australian.
Australian, maybe.
Lane, do you know Katie?
Have not met Katie.
What's up, Lane?
How's it going?
Good, man.
So that's pretty cool little hovercraft.
Hey, Nick, I see you on the live chat. I'm going to send you a link, and then you can talk. Hello?
Pizza Hut.
RCGroups.com.
How may I direct your call?
Huh. I should see who this is. Excuse me for a moment.
Sounded like an actual phone. All right, I'm now going to find
government.
I gotta go find Nikolai, who just wrote a story.
This is the IRS calling about your late tax phase.
Yes, the sheriff is on his way if you don't pay in Apple cards immediately. All right, Nick, I'm about to send you a link. What am I doing? I got a special guest we're going to talk about in just 1 second. This is a live show, so things happen in real live time.
Wait, this is right now?
No, this is in the future.
Oh, man. Live in the now.
I often, Jason, contemplate if I knew now 10 years ago, or even farther back, like let's say I could take all my smarts and be 14. I've distilled it down to 2 things I would do. I would ask for stock every year for my birthday. I would ask for Ford stock and Apple stock.
There you go.
Really, that would be I mean, there's a lot you could do with the past if you knew it, but if you only did one thing, I think those 2 things would be the simplest way to now like fly around in airplanes and be retired.
I feel like this should be a country song.
Yeah. I'll tell you another story. I'm not filtering myself here. When I worked at Hobby Lobby, I was the VP came to me and said, "Why don't you start a web forum?" And I said, "That's a crazy idea." And
with that too,
what was I thinking, man? They were gonna, okay, I'll stop there. Anyway, the history. Nikolai, what's happening?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Nick, do you know Lane?
You know, I've seen him around. Yeah, hey man.
But have you ever met him or been around him late at night?
No, I have not had that pleasure yet.
He's never flown a plane directly at your skull and you weren't aware of it except by the oncoming noise. And then when you turned, it was like headed for your forehead and you just ducked and it went over like this.
That's pretty much how it goes.
Well, maybe that can happen to you.
Next time it'll have Jim T's moo call.
That's right. I gotta get that put on the new one. That would be so cool.
We could sell the crap out of that, I think.
Yep.
Okay, so everybody's on. First of all, hello to our live viewers who are tuning in. I'm actually looking at the live chat right now. That's how I saw Nick. And we have a special guest who may or may not be able to attend because of technology, and that is Mark Murdoch. Jason Cole is heading out to Mark Murdoch's. Is it the Fun Fly and Pool Party? Is that what he's called?
Pecan Patch, yeah. It used to be the Eastern FPV something. I don't remember. It was a SPV specific event, and now it's open flying, FPV, everything. Bring whatever, come fly, have a great time. The property is awesome. The facility is great. Mark and Judy are awesome hosts.
Well, I'm jealous because you get to hang out with Judy, who's one of my favorite RC ladies.
Yeah, I think I'm going to attempt to fly while submerged in the pool underwater.
Do you have a waterproof drone?
A typical drone race is what, two minutes or so? Maybe you can hold your breath long enough to actually do a drone race underwater.
With your transmitter and a Ziploc?
Yeah, how are you going to see the goggles?
You got FPV goggles, you got antennas that stick way up out of the water.
How about a periscope that then goes to your goggles and then you're underwater? And then your hands are above the water running the controls.
That's how you have to FPV a submarine.
Hey, Flight Test made a whole career off of video like that. So,
man, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah,
right.
Get on it.
But we're gonna have a good time. So hopefully Mark can join us, tell us a little more about what's going on. I know I did see he mentioned LMR on the RCGroups event listing. So I'm gonna bring my Easy Glider 4 and attempt to have some fun.
You know what? I hope he may or may not be able to talk about this, but I saw a text. I can find it right now. I thought, is this somebody? Does he want me to do a story, or does he? What is going on here? Let's see if I can find it. All right. Hold on. Went all the way back to the history of me talking to Mark. Really? That's me? Okay. Found it.
Boy, this is interesting stuff.
Hey, guys. I want your help to do something in a really epic at the fly-in. This might be a secret. I might get in trouble. Did you get this text about this epic thing, Jason?
I did. I don't know that it's a secret.
Okay.
Like everybody wants to he wants everybody to get involved, so it can't be.
Well, if he comes on, he can elaborate. And he goes on to say, I want to do a striking back kind of show like they used to do at the Byron's Originals event in Iowa. If you haven't seen this on YouTube, you owe it to yourself to Google it. It's the Byron Originals event in Iowa. And he's going to say, watch this video. Here's a link. The Byron show was like a reenactment of Pearl Harbor. I want to do a 20-minute show, just a European conflict. You can fly whatever you want, but foamies are probably going to be the most popular. There will be a lot of traffic, so it won't be for the faint of heart. I don't care what warbird you have. Anything works. I need ground vehicles, jeeps, tanks, personnel characters, whatever RC cars and pseudo military foam builds. I will paint my slash military and strap on some mini rockets to the top. If you have a drone, you can film with it. Do it. Video cameras are encouraged. We have speakers blasting air raid sirens in air battles. We need a few people to make some cardboard or foam buildings that can fold up. I thought, and look shot up and bombed out. We will put smoke bombs in these buildings, and the pilots are encouraged to do strafing runs at the buildings. Anything you bring to the table will be appreciated. V2 rockets or Patriot missiles, Estes. I don't know how to say it. Tentatively, this will be on the schedule for 3 p.m. Saturday.
Yeah, we're talking like cool stuff here. Pyrotechnics, explosions, just a good time, right?
So if you've been on the podcast before, you've heard it, but I was at CEF one year and we pulled up, I guess we ate and we came back, and there was obviously something amazing about to happen. There's all these golf carts lined up on the runway. There are like 6 of them. And I have a golf cart. So I got in line and I happened to get up next to Mark and Judy. And I said, Mark, what the hell's going on here? And he goes, dude, it's Rolling Thunder. And then they started playing Welcome to the Jungle. And then the rockets started coming off of these RC cars, and then wings started coming in with little rockets going off the top of the wings, and it was epic.
Nice.
Jason, you're just smiling, but you're riding right there with me.
No, I was in there. I was just filming with the camera. I was sitting on top of the golf cart, and I was just like, I've never seen anything like it. Rolling Thunder at CEF was unbelievable.
It was like
planes shooting Roman candles off, and it was just like all hell broke loose, but it was awesome. Very cool.
Then we can watch it, and then it'll be more than just me and words. Hey, Nick, Jason, if you would do me a favor, can you pull up Nick's story that you pushed live this morning?
Certainly.
Hashtag vintage.
So Nikolai went to a show. What made you want to go to this? Now, I'm not a new guy. I remember actually L.A. Johnson used to fly airplanes like this at our very field. But what made you want to go to this show?
Well, first and foremost, it was put on by my club, so it was just kind of a hanging out kind of a day. But this is the second year for it, and last year it really surprised me, so I went back this year, and we had an even bigger crowd, and it was a really, really nice day, a good event. It was really cool to see all the old stuff that was before my time.
Lane, I feel like you're not talking out of possibly respect, and I want you to drop all respect and just be your Lane self. So anything you need to say, feel free to interject.
Wilco, thank you.
Yes, sir. I thought what we might do there is just maybe scroll through some photos, Nick, and you can tell us about it.
Wait, are you guys seeing my screen?
We are.
Yep.
You're presenting.
All right. Cool.
What's
Yep,
that one tab you got open there?
What's on?
Oh, Jason's got some strange tabs. Yeah.
I doubt that.
No, so the first picture there was just everybody lined up on the runway for next picture after lunch.
Whoa.
What?
Right.
Did you fall down, Jason?
No, my computer's precariously situated on the desk, so almost knocked it off.
Nice.
Yeah, we got some nice control line planes there.
Have you flown control line, Nikolai?
I have not. I meant to ask somebody if I could try theirs at the event, but I never got a chance.
Jim?
Never.
Jason?
I certainly have.
And what'd you think of it?
It was okay. Like, I don't like, it's not something I want to do, but it's fun if somebody's got it set up. I'm like, yeah, I'll fly this for a minute. It's harder than you might think.
Okay, Jim and Nikolai, we need to do a control line airplane. Like each one of us needs to build a control line airplane. I think we can do this. They're not that expensive. I mean,
the new thing is electric control line, right?
Here's something that's never been done, y'all. Control line FPV.
Ooh.
It seems very controlled.
Sounds like a really good way to get busy.
You can fly with the goggles on. You can fly with the goggles on, spinning in circles.
Can I rig a thing that just goes around my body and I don't have to move? It's on a track, you know.
Maybe somebody else watches the FPV while you fly.
Holy crap, Mark Murdoch's here, and it looks like he's in a spaceship.
Hey.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark, we'll be right there. We're looking at the Vintage Classic Spectacular. Vintage Radio Control Society. Join the excitement.
Booyah.
That looks like, no, it's not Mike Hines, but it looks like him.
I think I know that guy.
My kind.
Nice shirt.
Yep.
Nice look.
These are the category winners that the judges went around and decided on.
Holy crap. I can't believe Mark Murdoch's here. I'm cussing.
Hey, that looks familiar. It looks like a sand plane.
So how many people came out to this event, Nicola?
We had 65 pilots, up from like 45 last year.
That's a lot of damn pilots, especially for something like this, I would think.
Awesome, dude.
Yep. We had a great turnout. We were really happy.
2 days?
Were there any free flight models?
There was. Jason clicked by a couple of them, but we had some rubber band, and we had one of them that was Cox-powered free flight. Right? Whoa.
That's great.
They all had a good free flight.
There you go, Mark. That was nice.
Is it getting any better?
It sounds like something.
Just ignore the sound effects. I didn't know it was going to be like live right out there.
Look at that.
I hope you're not scratching the lens.
You have to fill your airplane up with a syringe.
So that's for limited time flight, right? You fill it up, it's full throttle, you throw it, and that's it.
Pretty much, yep.
Yeah.
And then were there any young people flying these airplanes?
Yeah, there was a couple. My buddy Alex Fredrickson flew a couple control line. He's the one that does a lot of my...
There's a youngster.
That one right there. He does a lot of my piloting for the review planes.
Nice.
Yeah.
He looked kind of cool doing that.
Yeah, he enjoys it.
If you want to check this out, head over to rcgroups.com. You can click on the All tab or the magazine button and find it in there. It's a featured article. Nick, I appreciate you putting that up. I saw that going live and I'm like, oh, that looks good. And I'm going to unspecialize this frame because I love to talk about all the technical aspects of what we're doing. Okay, I believe it's off. Jason, let's not get in the situation where we only have it on one person, which I tend to get us into. How the heck do I get off of there?
It's all good. You're good.
Switching?
It's switching.
Okay. I got a thing I'm going to show since Mark Murdoch is here. We were just talking about something, Mark. I dug it out of the archives and I'm going to present to everyone.
It's Rolling Thunder, man.
Check this out. Lane, this features that thing that you almost hit me in the head with. It's serendipity that this happened at the same time. So this is a giant, you tell us, Lane.
Well, that one's not mine, is it?
Oh, I don't know. It's a
no,
giant
that one was the
flight test
Starship thing.
There's us. Look, just like when
there's the airplane.
That is, yes.
Holy crap. It's like time's wrapping around itself. So this is nighttime bowling, right, Mark?
Bowling, yep. Love it.
Don't get behind the line. This is the beginning of Rolling Thunder. So these are RC trucks.
That's me on top of the golf cart filming.
And they're driving. Woo!
Pew, 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 pew.
I think I need to do another giant paper airplane. That thing was really fun.
That was so cool.
And loud. That's what the best part was.
And Mark, this is where the famous pew, pew, pew comes from.
Oh, Mark's muted.
Are you muted, Mark?
Hide, he checked.
Mark?
He wasn't muted.
No, clean your lens again. We'll hear that.
Mark,
if it's acting funny, hit that little gear up there on the top and see if maybe that is changed off of your microphone.
So now welcome to the jungles. Come back on.
Now there's a plane shooting off rockets and stuff from it, from the wing.
See y'all next year.
That's just ridiculous.
It seems like an AMA fault.
Super fun.
AMA? What? Huh? Shh.
Oh, it's after hours. It's all good.
Yeah,
check.
yeah.
Mark, check. Mark's looking for it. Okay, now you're muted. I see your mute button is on.
Now you have to unmute.
All right. We'll let Mark work on this, and maybe he'll figure it out. And if he doesn't, then we'll get over there. Mr. Lane.
Yes, sir.
What's happening?
Oh, living the dream. You know, just got back from South Dakota a couple of days ago and started working on cars again, and got a couple little custom things doing on the laser this week. And the wife keeps me busy with her silly chickens. I don't know if you pay any attention to my Facebook Live videos, but me and my youngest son tried to kill ourselves yesterday. That was a good time.
I saw the start of the video, but then I had to jump into this. And what did you do? How did you try to?
We had to lift a building up with, and we used some random car scissor jacks that we had laying around, and jack stands with pieces of wood stacked on top to lift a building high enough to back my crazy flatbed van underneath of it.
I think you should leave that on that truck and should just live there.
I told the wife we should just do that one day, buy one of those buildings, put it on there, you know, put a bed in there and take it to the campground just to see what kind of looks we get driving down the road. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, man.
but nah. So other than that, you know, work stuff and, you know, doing my car thing.
I have a chicken story for you.
Oh, please. I want to hear it.
It's cannibalistic. I was in the is the camera switching for you, Jason?
Looks like we're all good on the live feed there.
Good. Okay. I was living in Topanga Canyon, which is above Malibu, and right off Highway 1, where all the motorcyclists ride. And I was living in a 100-year-old rock hunting lodge, and we had chickens in the back. It was awesome. It was as awesome as you think it was. It was just hippies and guitar playing, and the beach was 10 minutes away, and Highway 1 was 1 minute away. And I had a Harley and a Cadillac and a CJ5 Jeep, and I was like 27 years old, working in the movie business. But when it was the forest fires that got me. So when the forest fires came through, I couldn't leave the area, because if I did, I wouldn't be able to get back in, right? So there's like helicopters flying over with spotlights saying, evacuate the area. You know, I'm watching the fire on TV, and so I can't feed the chickens because I don't have any chicken feed, right? So, but they're still laying eggs. So it occurred to me, why don't I take these eggs, scramble them, and then feed them to the chickens? So I was feeding those chickens their own eggs for at least a week. And my question was, how long can this last? You know, how long can you feed a chicken eggs?
Well, let me give you a little input on chickens now, since this has become the chicken cast today. Chickens need lots of calcium, obviously, for the shells. So when you say you make a bunch of scrambled eggs, take the shells and you keep them, crush them all up, throw them back into the chicken coop, and they will eat the shells. And yes, they also, sometimes chickens get a little scatterbrained, I guess, and they will eat each other's eggs and their own. So they'll lay an egg and eat it. And this is kind of a common occurrence. Yeah. So feeding them scrambled eggs is nothing really unusual, because hell, they'll eat them raw. Right. But they also will eat the shells. Mark, are you there?
Holy crap. Mark's talking. All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
Great.
Good, worked out.
So Mark Murdoch, if you don't know Mark, the very first time I ever was aware, I was like, who is this dude in this red? What is that thing you drive? Is it not a Razor? What is it?
It's a UTV that's sold by a company called Bristers.
And it was, I remember when it was brand new, bright red, and it said Pecan Patch on it.
It still says that. It's just not brand new anymore. It's been through hell.
And I thought, who is this guy? And then we finally met, and then I met your wife, and then multiple shows later, here we are, you know, Joe Knoll, places like that.
Yeah, my wife, hippie chick, right?
Hippie chick. Yeah. And so now it's time for you to have your yearly event, and Jason's headed your way.
Woo! I'm so glad, Jason. Man,
yeah, man.
Big hit there.
What day does that start, y'all?
Friday.
This Friday.
Next Friday. You know, I can't make it because I'm going to be getting a colonoscopy on that day, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Thanks.
Are you doing it FPV?
Yeah, I'm doing it myself. I got the kit from Hobby King.
And, they definitely will do FPV, but we've changed it up this year to it's not just FPV now like it used to be. I've got a lot of local friends that want to fly, and you know, it was always just FPV. So we're going to have all kinds of planes and warbirds and 3D guys, and Kevin Garland's coming in, and he's one of our hometown boys. I didn't know if you knew that. And we're really looking forward to Kevin coming back, and Alan in Florida, you know, Alan Chervetts and Ernie, all those guys are coming, Jay Skinner. And we got a Facebook group, and we're also on RCGroups, and it's looking like it's going to be bigger than last year.
Awesome.
Pilot count, and I just can't wait. And we just had some conversations with the county police department and also the FAA, and we are cleared of anything that was being levied against us, and everything's full steam ahead. And the reason is because we're not breaking the law. So
yep.
That's
awesome.
Jason, I'm on the hunt for some event coverage that you might have done in the past. What would be a good search term?
I will find it for you here.
All right. Jason, be on the hunt for that. So, Mark, tell us about your extravaganza World War II European theater type of thing. Oh, no, your volume went off again. Mark, I got to tell you need to buy a new laptop, bro. 10 years is a long time. Of course, my laptop's 10 years old.
I bought mine used 4 years ago.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna do Mark while he talks. Dude, it's awesome. You gotta come on out. Miss Judy gonna make chicken for everybody, and the pool is gonna have floaty devices.
Notice. Here we go.
Sorry, Mark.
This picture says it all right here. The party's here.
Nice.
Yeah, we haven't made it out to Mark's place yet, but I would be there. I didn't even check the dates of it, but I would be there this weekend if I wasn't working. We would pack up and go to that one. So maybe next year we can make it.
Here's an idea, Mark. Do you have an external headphone set or something that you can plug in and then go in that way? That might be a bypass. It's Tech Talk on RCGroups.com. Oh, I hear it. I hear it. Nope, it's off. Tap that thing again.
Smack it.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Hey.
Okay, now don't move.
Am I back?
Yeah. I'm going to present photos from event coverage, and then you can talk about it.
Okay. Now, this is from the Southeastern FPV meet, one of the coverage.
Are we looking at my screen?
Yeah, we are now.
Okay. Yeah, this is from 2016.
Let's click on it and just kind of scroll through a little bit.
Yeah.
This got some good pictures.
So that's your property?
Yes. There's my cart in the background, and you can see the ready-made tent is there. This is early on. This is before everybody really filled in.
Yeah.
Are the ready-made boys showing up this year?
They are. They are coming. Kevin McCleary and Paul Guava. I don't know how to say his last name. But, yeah, they're coming. There's Kevin.
There's a roll on his name. It's Paul Guava.
Is that it? Guava?
That's not it.
They're good people. That's Eugene in Florida.
Yeah.
But so it'll be a little different this year. You know, FPV events are weird because you don't really see anybody flying much, and all of a sudden you hear all these people cheer up under the tent.
Right.
You know, and then people are like, "What's going on?" Well, there's a guy, you know,
on channel 4
out that way and a mile that way, and so they don't really understand what's going on. So I don't know. It was just time for a change, and we're gonna open it up. We're still FPV friendly, and a lot of those guys are coming, and we're really looking forward to it.
Hey man, do you have I could look, but I'm going to talk to you instead. Do you have a for sale thread going on RC Groups for the show?
Yes, we added a for sale thread and another thread as well.
I've got a fully built fin wing penguin that I've been trying to sell to the right person for a couple of years now. So I'm going to throw that in there. And Jason, if somebody buys it, I might run it to your house.
All right.
Yeah. The big thing I'm excited about, again, that Warbird thing, I went to Ida Grove, Iowa, and I saw the Byron Original show. I don't know if any of y'all know what that is, but that was an amazing show. And that was in 1988. And the things they did with 72 megahertz back then was just amazing. And I was a young man back then. But I've always wanted to do something like that. So I don't know if you saw Chris DeGraff has built a tank body to put on his Slash. And I'm going to be building like a little howitzer that has some fireworks in it, and a water tank with some weld art stuff, and other people are bringing stuff. And we're just going to do like a little recreation of basically World War II, but I'm calling it, if you remember the movie, The Final Countdown. So that's what we're going to call this thing. It's not Rolling Thunder. It's The Final Countdown. So that means you can use any warbird, any war, and we're just going to blow stuff up on the ground with fireworks while we do it. And so we're really excited about it. It's going to be cool.
Okay, I'm going to stop you, Jason.
Okay.
And I'm going to go over to this, and then you tell me if this is what you're talking about.
Yes, that is definitely it right there.
All right, let's hit play.
They were recreating like Pearl Harbor, and we're just kind of generically. Yeah, that's it. I saw that show. I was there in 1988.
So just these remote control warboats, which are awesome. And they had
little one-man tanks. They had tanks that had a little guy in it. I mean, they'd get down in it and drive it around. Love to have one of those, but Lance get one of those out pretty quick.
Boy, you think we're fancy? These guys, this is amazing.
Oh, it was amazing for 1988. These planes were big. They're B-29. It was bigger than Max.
Wow.
It crashed, but so did Max. So
we need to get to the destruction. Let me fast forward a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, they had wings coming off and Zeros crashing, and just totally amazing stuff.
I think we have a bombing run coming up here.
That's what I'll be flying. Oh, that's an Avenger. I'm going to be flying a Wildcat in mine, a park zone. We want everybody to bring some kind of warbird and just throw it up there. It's going to be a melee. Here comes a Jap. He's going down. I didn't see the wing come off, but it will, by God. Smoke.
Here's some stuff.
That's black smoke, so that's pretty accurate,
Yeah, how do they make black smoke?
I don't know.
Bombs.
You drive a Ford. That's how you.
Oh, they're blowing up that dude's boat. This is like Universal Studios, man.
Now our show's going to be nothing like this.
It'd be better, right? Bigger.
Yours is just going to be explosions and smoke, and
ours is going to be foamies and slashes with foam bodies. So but we're going to have fun. There's no doubt about that.
Right,
mid-air collisions.
Wow.
Always trying to be the trendsetter,
Look at this, and then we'll end on this. Babushka. Holy crap! That's like full-on pyro movie.
Yeah, we got one
mushroom cloud. Wow. Okay.
That's awesome.
So be there. It's going to be great.
All right. So this is this is this Friday, not this Friday, and it's 2 days.
Yes, Friday, Saturday. I do have people coming in on Thursday, doing some maidens and stuff, but the 2 big days are Friday, Saturday.
And now tell me about the pool aspect. What's happening in the pool?
Well, it's Georgia, and today was the first day of summer, and it's going to be hot. So we have a pool, and it's open to all pilots and their families and their kids, and it's 20,000 gallons.
Uh-oh.
If you can fill the pool with Jello, that would be great.
Jello shots.
Your mic has gone back out again. It's just tap on it. It's like you would a small child's head. Shit. Talk.
No.
Oh.
Right.
There.
Hello.
I love it. It's working.
All right.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah, I love it. High tech, baby.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate RC Group support over the years, and Ready Made RC has been great to us. And You know, we're not trying to get rich or anything, but it helps out with the grass cutting and the gas and everything that goes along with it. I've got a bunch of friends that come and help me out with it, and it really makes it a lot more enjoyable when that happens. So,
hey, Mark.
Yes.
Of course, first of all, good to see you, buddy.
You too.
Hey, tell me about those little doohickeys you've been welding up.
Oh, my weld art.
Yeah.
Those things are cool as crap.
I appreciate it, man. It's kind of a new hobby of mine. I've been collecting stuff for really 15 years. And finally, I just have so much stuff, and the brain is starting to, like, kind of go artist on me. And you
got anything in arm's reach?
Not too far away. Right here.
Show folks what we're talking about. So for those of you who don't know, Mark has been weld art. He's been making random little figurines and sometimes useful stuff, but most of the time just kind of artsy stuff, little guys and little cars. And that truck that he made is absolutely gorgeous.
So this is my I call it a robot.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna lose the microphone.
There you go.
There you go.
So he's a robot, and he holds your solder here on the back.
Nice.
And he's got a hole drilled for his mouth. So when you pull the solder, it comes out of his mouth.
Nice.
And then you can put the soldering iron in this hole right here. And I've got a place to put flux. And I've been presented to everyone.
The flux should come out of his butt.
Yeah, you push on his head and he.
So, yeah. And he's got little thrusters on the back here, you know, where he can fly, supposedly. Anyway, these are airplane parts. These are jet engine pieces and bell cranks for throttles and thrust reversers, and landing gear bushings, and it's in the scrap metal bin where I work, and that's one of my faves. And
well, the truck you made wasn't it out of electrical boxes?
It was. The cab was made out of electrical boxes, and also the Miss Hippie Chick's getting it for me.
Hippie Chick, what's happening? Jim T says, hey.
Hi.
What's going on, camera?
Get on camera, Judy, come on.
She's like, no way.
Bring your beauty over here right now.
So that is awesome.
These are electrical boxes, and
holy
these are manuals that hold, like, your Ziz wheels on a die grinder. And
I see you, Judy. Would you sell any of these? They look so nice. I don't think you could.
I've sold a couple of pieces. I'm selling the soldering guys. I sold about 4 of those.
What do those things cost?
It depends on the complexity of them, you know. $50 for just a basic one. If the solder comes through his mouth, you're jumping up there. There's the chopper that I made.
Awesome.
And, it's even got the chain on it. I don't know if you can see it.
Nice.
Little chain on it.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah, one of the most fun things is taking scrap and junk and making something out of it. Even if it's nothing useful, sometimes just something to look at. But yeah. I'm telling you, that truck is by far my favorite, Mark. That is, I saw that and just was in shock. I love it.
This is the snowman.
No, cute.
Those are uni ball bearings and concrete nails for the arms. A lot of it's for the wifey. She's feeding me right now.
There you
go. A little snail I made for her. But it just, I don't know. The more I do, the more it comes to me. And
yeah,
I haven't been getting work on my airplanes done. So that's not good.
Hey,
buddy.
Mark, can you see my screen?
Yes.
This is something that my grandpa's been gone a long time. I can't see my screen when I hold it. Can you see that?
Back it up.
Back it up a little bit.
And then you have to talk so we can see it.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So my grandpa made that. You probably in the 1960s or 70s. And,
that's awesome.
Just farting around, you know.
Yeah.
And somehow it wound up in my possession, and this piece stayed together, and now it hangs in my
it, man.
Yeah, very cool.
It's got a bottle opener for the back fender. That's cool. Is that a Zippo gas tank?
Yeah, it's a Zippo gas tank. And then the muffler is a pin.
Yeah. You know, I can't throw anything away now. That's the dreaded weld art thing. Everything you see is, I could use that.
Hey, speaking of making stuff, Jason, check this out. So it could be upstairs right now for Father's Day. I got myself a baritone surf guitar because I've been.
You did it.
Yeah, I did it, and I've been. I'm gonna record some extreme surfy spaghetti western music. You know, boom, 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 that kind of stuff. But I realized I needed a baritone. There's a point here. I did not like the pick guard. It wasn't working for me, and so it occurred to me, bro, I could make pick guards on my CR10 3D printer.
There you go.
So I went into the forum of that company and I said, hey, who's got a PDF? And I want to make one before it gets here. I want to start playing around with it. And dude, the whole forum is like, can you make me a pick guard? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then I was like, let me get this pick guard.
Wow.
And then I'll see what I can do for you. I mean, it should be pretty simple once I get the right size.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He said, dude.
Yeah, Mike Hines sent me some files that he wanted me to print for his cockpit and nozzles for his F4. So I've been printing stuff for Mike.
And that's cool because it's little, you know, it's like my son always wants that 3-day print that'll fail at day 2.5, you know.
Right.
I can't, I'm out of the 3-day print business. I still have, I just touched my favorite print. Let me grab it.
Touching it.
That's really good.
What is it?
This cow horn is pretty dang realistic in real life. If you were here, you might not know it was fake. And this was just a one-off accidental print. And the problem is I have not been able to figure out how to attach these solidly to a base. I want to put them on the Cadillac, attached magnetically to the hood. And so this is a project that's been on hold. The base is not perfectly round. So it's like, how do I, maybe I could screw into them or glue them or something. I don't know. What'd you go get, Mark?
Oh, I just recently had something 3D printed. For me, a 3D printer is like a boat. A lot of people have them. I just get somebody else to let me use their boat or their 3D. I had this starter right here that I'd gotten in trade, and it's just a Hobbyco. It was brand new though, so I got all Milwaukee 18-volt stuff, and I found this file right here on Thingiverse.
That is cool.
And then all I had to do, I made these little bars to connect the dots on the feet, and then my 18-volt Milwaukee just clips right in there.
That is awesome, Mark.
Now I have an M18 Hobbyco Torque Master starter.
Dude, have you put that on Thingiverse, your design?
This is available on Thingiverse. It's
Okay.
just, I put a couple aluminum bars on it. I mean, I didn't modify the file. I just had my buddy Lee Henson print it for me, and then I did a little machine work on those bars. But we talked about it. But
that is freaking awesome. Love
I
it.
got mine, so I'm good.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I'm
Those
busy
words
doing something all the time.
Jason, you want to jump into your DLG contest that you went to?
Yeah, so just, fly sailplanes. Lane does it. They're awesome. But I'm coming off of a pretty fantastic third place.
Beer drinking
I
contest.
call it a victory because I made the podium at the Possum Toss last weekend. So this is my nice trophy. I don't know. Can you see? So it has words on there. And I've got an identical one. So now I've got twins. Third place both times.
Third place. You're kind of stuck there.
Now, what is your wife when you come home and you have that and you say, "Honey, look what I won"? Is she like, "You are so talented"? Or
Well, no, she's like, "Good job." Yeah, she's excited. But I was excited because
she says you got a $2,000 airplane and all you brought home was a stupid cup.
you won a cup.
It's not even full of beer.
Yeah.
Was Richard Greet there?
Oh, I don't recognize that name.
How about Philip Chesser?
No, Philip wasn't there.
It's Electrich on.
Oh, Rich was. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of our homeboys. He got second place. Did he beat you?
No. Jason Scribbs got first place, and Dylan Graves from Graves RC got second place, and I got third.
Must have been a different class or something. He's really good.
Yeah. So that's what I was excited because Dylan is a former world champion, you know, amazing pilot. I flew the best contest I've ever flown. I didn't have a score lower than like 918 out of 1,000, where most contests you'll get at least 1 or 2 rounds where it's like a 700-800 something. But I was in 5th place. I moved down to 7th. I got up to 3rd and then back to 4th. And I was like, didn't think I was going to make the podium and ended up pulling it out at the end. But the last round of the day was super fun because it was me, and I knew I was close. I was probably 4th place, maybe 5th. Didn't know I was in 3rd at the time. And Jason Scribbs was in the round with me, and he had just edged out Dylan for 1st place by not a lot of points. Wow. And so it was basically like on him to not screw up this round, and it was on me to do really well to make the podium. And so we just kind of had this pact, like we were just going to follow each other. So we were just following. He went off one way, I followed him, and it was like formation flying almost. And you could hear people in the pits like saying it. They're like, "Look at Jason following Jason. This is so funny." And yeah. But we were following each other in some really bad air. And the last flight of that round, we just hit some sink, and we were coming down, and I actually yelled in the middle of the round. I was like, "Jason, where are you taking us?" And we make a turn, come back in, and about 10 feet off the ground, we hit a pocket of lift, and we both just immediately hook up. And we were so low to the ground and so close to each other. We almost had a midair like 3 or 4 times trying to hook this thermal, because you got to turn really tight when they're that low to the ground. The core is really small. But we ended up both like hooking it up and getting out and being comfortable and safe, and both maxed out the score. But that was just such a crazy flight for us following each other, hooking up so low and doing it together kind of as a team. It was so fun. He ended up winning, and then I made the podium with 3rd. So I just can't get enough of these contests. They're so much fun. If you've never tried one, get a foamy easy glider or something and do an LMR, a limited motor run contest. Do some kind of competition. It doesn't have to be about, I have to be the best and win. It's just a good time flying all day with your buddies, you know? So go out and do it. Is it just me, or
when you're doing this and you get down to that last minute and a half to 2 minutes of a flight on an LMR, does your heart rate start going up? And that last like 30 seconds, for me, that's when the adrenaline kicks in, and you start sweating a little bit, and your heart rate kicks up, and it's just so much fun. I love doing those contests.
It is, and it's funny you said that, because one of the guys, they were talking about why they do this year after year, and they're like, it's kind of like an adrenaline junkie standpoint, because it's like you get every round you go out and you get like this, what is it, dopamine or something?
Yeah.
This chemical that releases in your brain, and it just, makes you feel good and happy and fun. So it does do that to you. It's more than just flying just for fun with no plan in mind. You're just doing it because you like it. This is like you're flying with a purpose, and it's challenging, and that kind of goes into what makes it fun. But more than that, just hanging out with the guys all day long flying is just, there's not much better than that. So
Jason,
go do it.
Tell the story about us going to Ceph and you entering the LMR with a micro radian. Am I remembering that we did that?
So the Ceph, I've done some pretty crazy things at the Ceph LMR. I'm usually there, we were either working for Hobby Lobby or RCGroups. So it's like, you got stuff you got to do and you can't really take the whole time to fly the entire LMR contest round. So I've flown the 12-foot Telemaster in the LMR. Skied it out as high as I could after 2 minutes, and then cut the motor off. And I nearly made the full 10-minute flight on the 12-foot Telemaster. I flew the Ultra Micro Radian, the tiny little guy.
He specced it out so specky that it literally was past the spec, and you can barely see it.
Yeah, and it was great because I don't know what it was, but the lift was just straight. It was just all up there. Once you got 2 minutes high, there was just nothing but lift. I remember just laying down on the grass, just looking straight up at the plane and just looking at the black dot and trying not to lose it. Just crazy.
Don't look away.
Yeah. It was nuts, and having to sit there for 8 minutes waiting, and then I came in, made the landing on that flight, and I didn't do it any other round because we had to get to work. But yeah, I enjoy those things, and you can do silly things like that. But you got cheap airplanes like the Radian or the Easy Glider that are, really affordable, but also really competitive, for that type of contest where that's very simple. And you can add flaps and spoilers or things to make them even easier to land on the spot landing part. But just go do it. It's fun, guys. Enjoy it.
At Joe, I got one flight in with my Radian, and I did the 2-minute climb, and then I did a 9:56 and made the spot landing, and I was tickled to death with that. I know what you're saying.
Yep, I've had 2 perfect flights in multiple contests. 2 where I hit exactly on time in the spot.
Now,
and
is that the one you designed?
Yeah, that was on mine. The
What
Prowler.
was that thing called?
The Prowler.
Prowler.
Yep, and it'll be back.
Wow.
It'll. In fact, the wife has got it on my list right there of things to get done, and I think that's top of the list. So, well, I made something kind of interesting this morning. Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
Certainly.
Had a customer who's working on a King Cobra, which, they're pretty neat airplane. And he's got, of course, got a foam core wing. And he said, I need a servo mount, and this is what I want. He wanted a recessed servo mount. So I don't know how well you can see this, but this is just an old Futaba servo that I had laying around. So what we did, we laser cut this hatch, and the servo screws, obviously, to these pieces underneath. So you just mount the servo just like normal. And then it goes and attaches to the hatch cover itself. The hatch cover screws down to this piece, and then this is just the cover piece that goes on top of that. And I said, you know what? That's kind of a nice little deal for mounting a servo into a foam wing. I might have to make some more of these for various sizes and various servos. So pretty simple little deal, but I thought it was kind of neat looking.
That's awesome.
That's great.
And then like the pieces of wood that connect the servo to the top mount, maybe those could be adjustable.
Yes. You talking about these here?
Yes.
That mount the servo? Yeah, we've got them through. He wanted to go through the top of it and just glue them in. And so if you made for, say, HS55s or HS85s or whatever, just using high tech as an example, we could space them and size them for whatever size it needed to be. And so I don't know. I think it turned out really nice. Pretty simple little project. Didn't take very long to design. And it's going to get his King Cobra in the air. So that's probably the best part.
I got a question since we have such a kick-ass crew of pilots here. I was on the phone with an advertiser the other day, and they were talking about their genre, which would have been quadcopters. And I believe personally that the quadcopter bubble obviously really got huge and then just oversaturated like crazy. I'm not like 3D and everything else. It's not going to go anywhere. There'll always be quadcopters, but the heyday is certainly over. Like the year we went to Toledo where it was nothing but quadcopters. But my question is, when something like that pops, there's usually something coming up on it. Like in the earliest days, park flyers were like gigantic. Then 3D foamies were gigantic. And then, the little micro Huckbine, Jason, what was that?
EDF jets.
EDF jets. So does anyone here have a theory on what the next big bubble is going to be in the industry? Because I think we're due.
Norman, obviously.
Hi, Norman. I do see things going back to airplanes,
Yeah, I think high quality FPV is probably getting real close.
As you know, FPV is near and dear, and the only thing I really fly anymore RC related. But I'm wondering if we've peaked out on that too,
Well, I don't know. FPV is kind of fun. I enjoy it, but not a lot. I would rather fly line of sight. And if I had to hope, I just did a little reading yesterday about the new trade things with China and everywhere else, and tariffs and
yes.
more cost. So let's say. And really, it's a good thing. It's a bad thing and a good thing. And what I mean by that is, yes, okay, if I want to buy an airplane, an ARF that's made in China, even though it's an American company, for example, but it's assembled or designed and put together in China, shipped over here, it's going to cost me, say 25 or 30% more to buy that airplane. But hopefully what that does is that brings more manufacturing back here to the United States. That's the intent, obviously. But I'm kind of hoping that kit building will start to make a little bit of a resurgence, because if you've never built a kit, they're an absolute blast. I'm sure everybody here has built at least one kit, right?
Yep. I always had a theory that we might revert back into kit building. P.S. When I had Billy Hell RC, everything was made in the U.S. and we actually had church ladies. It was a group of ladies from a church who was doing all the covering on the planes that we were building. And let me tell you, in about a month's time frame, they were as good as any covered planes I'd ever seen.
Wow.
But I couldn't maintain it. I kept that company going US based ARFs for 2 years before I had to stop and ran out. I was just like, couldn't do it anymore. So I guess that leads to the next question. Can the hobby go backwards into kits? Mostly things never go back.
I hope it does, because it gives you, like I've said in the past, okay, if you go buy, just pick a random airplane, you know, popular airplane, and not to pick on like AJ, but an AJ Slick. You know, you buy one and your buddy has one and the guy next to him and the guy next to him. And now you're out at the flight line and everybody has the same airplane. They might put a different sticker or two on it, but generally speaking, everybody has the same airplane with the same covering scheme, and they might offer one or two different ones. Maybe going to almost ready to cover airplanes would be and I've seen a few of those. But it just, I get tired of seeing the same airplane over and over and over again.
One thing we did was we did schemes that were all one color. So you get a white plane with nothing on it. And then we had decal sets, or you could create your own. It was all monocoat, so you could cut your own stuff. And one thing I've been hanging out on the ProBro site more often in the last few months. And it's amazing. People think that those guys don't exist anymore, these kit builder profile guys, but they're building, they're internally creating and cutting and selling kits, keeping that whole thing alive. So there's a little segment of the hobby that is still out there doing it.
Maybe Quickie 500 is the next thing, or EF1, you know, maybe the racing.
What do you think, Mark?
I don't know about the rest of the country. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of the country, but around here, I'm kind of seeing a resurgence of nitro mixed with some small 20cc gassers, and like the Stevens brothers, John Stevens and them, and there's a guy on Facebook that goes by Peter Salami. He is big into nitro, and myself. I'm just, you know, a long time ago, a guy told me one time, he said, "Why does everybody want electric? What if all we ever had was electric?" And somebody came along and said, "Look at this engine. It burns fuel like a real plane. It makes smoke like a real plane. It sounds like a real plane. And guess what? You can fly it full throttle the whole time, land and refuel it and go again." People be like, "Oh my God, I got to have one of those." So it's an interesting argument, you know. And the biggest complaint all I ever hear is, "Oh, but it's so nasty. It gets dirty. It gets on my hands." And I'm just like, would you quit being a baby and get some Windex and take the house?
I never cleaned one of my planes ever. Never did I think, and it never hurt them, by the way. You know how they say it'll ruin an airplane, but it never hurt my airplane.
So anyway, that's what I'm seeing around here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Gas motors have certainly, the one thing we didn't have back in the heyday of nitro was small gas motors that you could put on a 40 size, 60 size planes. But those things are all over the place now.
They are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got a 20cc, I think, Evolution sitting over here that I got. I've been trying to decide what to put it on. It should be kind of interesting. I have one big gasser and that's it. The rest of my stuff is electric. My wife is allergic to nitro. So at nitro events, she has to stay upwind. Otherwise it put her in the hospital once.
Wow.
So we don't mess around.
I've never heard of that.
The other thing is smoke. Everybody loves smoke. Everybody wants smoke. If you're not smoking at Joe Knoll, I don't even want to take a picture of your airplane. You know, so you got to have the gas motor to make that happen.
And the electric smoke just doesn't compare at all.
If they could have done it, they would have done it. That guy from Germany would have made that happen by now.
It's so weak.
I saw a link for electric smoke the other day. There's a company doing it, and I can't remember who it was. In fact, I was busy and I didn't get a chance to look it up. But
it's got to be this. It's always at Joe Knoll.
It exists, but it's just weak compared to what you get. You know, the amount of smoke that comes out is just not nearly as impressive.
Well, it's going to be difficult to get, 150 cc smoke out of an electric.
Yeah. For real.
Nick, what's your favorite airplane to fly right now?
Oh, good question. Actually, I have my old, speaking of kits, I have my Great Plains Ultimate 46 size. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I was always a big biplane guy. Are you guys biplane guys?
I love biplanes.
I love them too. I've got several.
I've got a 84-inch Ultimate right there.
Does anybody remember the old 3D plane, the Magic?
Yeah.
Who made it?
I don't remember who made it. It was like yellow and blue and red.
Was it an English company?
Maybe it was it was like a profile plane, I believe. But I ended up kit bashing 2 of those that were crashed and made a biplane.
Wasn't it
profile
Model Tech?
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's what I thought. I just Googled it. I was like, yeah, that's it.
So I
yellow
made a biplane version of that. It flew awesome. It was fun.
My brother had a clone to that called a Panic biplane.
Huh.
It was from England, I know. But,
I got a big 60 size Lamiak that some Pro Bros built for me as a gift, and that is the best flying airplane in the back. If somebody said I want your best flying airplane, it would be that 60 size Lamiak.
So, real quick, I've got a right above me here. That is a Stampy SV4 biplane right there. And then I've got the battery made die because it's a POS. And then I've got a Great Plains Pitts.
Yeah.
I know you want that, Lane, but you can't have it.
I want another 3rd scale Pitts. I've had a couple of them, and I don't have one right now.
And we've got one of these paintball wings. It's a biplane, but it's a wing.
We lost sound again, Mark.
Oh, Mark's moving things around.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. But yeah. Oh, and my Andrews Aeromaster from 1980 is right there.
Nice.
1980. So, yeah, been around a while. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. But yeah, biplanes are cool.
Well, I got to thinking, Jim, and tell me what you think. What do you say we teach people something today?
Oh, you mean pro tech tips?
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, why don't you start out?
Well, I read something the other day and I went, you know what? A lot of people don't understand this, don't know it. Simple, basic propellers. How do you choose what propeller? What's the difference between random propellers? And everybody jump in here as we go, please, because don't make me do this all by myself. But for example, what prop for what motor and what type of prop for what type of airplane? So there's individuals out there, and I didn't realize this, and probably some that listen to the show that don't know, I guess you'd say, what the numbers on a prop mean. Obviously, say let's just use a 10x6, very common prop, 10-inch diameter, so the prop is 10 inches wide with a 6-inch pitch, and some people don't understand what the pitch means. So Mark, you're kind of engineer-y type. Why don't you go ahead and explain the pitch in Mark terms? Okay, try again, Mark. Whack your thing.
Just
Can you hear me now? Better? Yeah, the second number, 10-6.
Oh, hit it again.
Oh. Check.
Yep.
Piece of crap. I'll have to get me a headphone if we're going to continue to do this. But yeah, the 6 is the pitch, sort of like the pitch of the threads on a screw or a bolt. It's how far it will screw itself forward in one revolution, is the way I understand it. So it would go one revolution, it would go 6 inches forward. Is that correct?
Right? And that's of course doing
You're solid.
In theory without slippage, which
right.
we do have slippage in air with airplanes. And so, yeah, 10-inch diameter. So let's say you have a motor that's calls for a 10x6 prop, and you put an 11x6 prop on it. What's going to happen? Well, generally speaking, we're going to use electric in this example, if that's okay with everybody. You you would overamp the motor. You'd overheat it because it's not rated to turn that big of a diameter. But and the same goes with the pitch. You increase the pitch. You're also going to increase the amp draw of an electric motor. But trying to figure out what prop to put on a motor if there's no recommended props for it is where some people stumble on this whole concept.
This is where RCGroups comes into play, Lane.
That's right, and they can find it on there. Right. But say you can't find the motor on RCGroups and you can't find any recommended props. All you have to know is what the amperage of the motor, what amperage the motor can handle. And then, of course, you have to have an amp meter. But and you can try any random prop and change the prop until you get near that that amp rating on the motor, and that's going to give you a pretty good setup. But for any electric setup, you really have to have a good amp meter anyway. Anyway, somebody else throw something in there. Nikolai, you're a smart fella too. You used to listen to the Crashcast a lot.
Yeah. Because I mean, I absorbed a whole lot of it, but but the only rule that I keep in mind is if you want to change a prop with minimal difference to your wattage or anything, you will go up an inch and down 1 in pitch.
Right. And
or if you go from 2-blade to 3-blade, you'll go down an inch.
Right. So generally, to keep the same amp draw, the same current going through, change by 1 inch either direction.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
So in general, larger diameter props provide more thrust, where larger pitch props generate more speed. So you'll see a lot of speed planes with what we call a square prop, like a 5x5. You know, or you can even go over square. You can be like a 5.7. Get a lot of pitch for more speed. But typically, the diameter affects the amperage greater than the pitch does. So usually, I mean, a rough estimate would be if you go up an inch in diameter, that's going to create more of an amp difference than it would be by going about the same difference as going 2 inches in pitch. So just
I agree. At the CUDA, we run a 5, so we run an over square prop because we're looking for higher speed, and it works real well. Or we use a 5.25 by 6.25. Some of the pylon guys, if I'm not mistaken, are using 7x9, 7x10, 10 inches of pitch on a 7-inch diameter prop.
And what that means is you don't have a lot of thrust, raw thrust, you know, so you have to get the plane
up to speed
with a bungee launch or a real hard throw, and it has to kind of get up on step, or otherwise it's just cavitating air because the pitch is so large that it doesn't really provide much thrust until it gets up to speed.
The flip side to that is back in the electric 3D days, everything was 4.7. You know, you didn't run maybe a 5. 5 would be as high as you would go in a prop. 4.7 is like first gear all the time. So your plane is like, barely moving, but creating enough push over those surfaces to be able to do all those 3D maneuvers.
I'll throw in a comment if y'all can hear me.
Yep.
Like I fly my Fun Cub, and a lot of guys use higher pitch props than I do, but I want mine to have a good climb. One reason it's pretty dang heavy from all the repairs and hot glue. So I run a 11.47, but the guy I bought it from, he always run a 7 pitch on there, and he got more speed. And when he flew it, he was like, "Man, this thing's so slow. What did you do to it?" And I'm like, "I just put a less pitch prop on it." But the trade-off is, you lose some speed, but it'll climb better. So lower pitch to me is kind of like putting a car like downshift into third. Like you're going up the hill, you drop down to third, and you'll go up the hill better. So that's kind of how I look at it. And like if I'm at an event and the last days are there and all my 11.47s are broke, well then I'll go to a 12.3 or a 9.6, and go to a smaller diameter and more pitch, or go to a bigger diameter and less pitch to try to equal that out until I can buy the correct props. I don't know if that helps anybody, but.
Another thing to stick on there is that I learned real quick that a plastic prop versus a wood prop. A wood prop will give you instantaneous response because it's more rigid and it's on, or you hit the throttle and that thing is working. Plastic props, especially skinny ones like 10x47s, those are more flexible and they're a little more soft in their response. So every prop is different and reacts differently.
And every prop I've learned has an RPM limit.
I have find that limit, don't we?
I have found that limit on a few occasions on my small, on my 6S CUDA, for example, with a regular APC E prop. It will blow the blades straight off of the prop at full throttle. Just tosses the blades. Go to a 6x4 Sport, and they stay together pretty well. So I've gone to a carbon fiber prop, and as long as it's extremely well balanced, the carbon fiber is the way to go. But you'd be surprised, and some people don't even realize that balancing a prop will actually lower your amp draw. Not only that, give you just better performance in general because you're not beating the crap out of your bearings and your motor and your airframe in general. Now, is it going to lower it by 10 amps? No, it's not. But it's going to. It's just all around better. So unless it's something you really just don't care about, balance your propellers. Pick up a balancer or make one. Have Mark make you one.
Absolutely.
Hey, I've been looking for this biplane. That is not the right one.
Oh, the pictures of the one they made you?
No, that was not a biplane, but this is a Booker. I paid $450 for it. I sold a pistol to buy this plane. I talked to my friend Bryce and I said, Bryce, what do you think? And he goes, well, do you want to shoot someone or fly a kick-ass airplane? And I said, all right. So I sold the pistol and I bought this. Is a Booker Youngmeister, and what a sweetheart of an airplane that thing was. And that's a golden, what is it? Golden
Knight.
Yeah, Golden Knight Sato on there. Real sweetheart. And then, by the way, P.S., that's not what I'm looking for. I was trying to Google this. Jason, check out some of this blast from the past.
Yeah, the Hellraiser.
So this is the Hellraiser. This is something I worked on with Mike Glass when he got in a fight with Chip Hyde, and he said Chip Hyde and him were going to design this, and he called me and he said, if I ever meet Chip Hyde, tell him I'm going to reach down his throat and pull his heart out and shove it back in his face. And I said, so you don't want to work with Chip? And he said, no. He said, I'll do it on my own. And so that's where the Hellraiser came from. And then check this out. There's some more oldies but goodies in here. Here is my ultimate field box. Hold on. So this is a story I did about a field box with everything that you need for a glow situation. It even has a Coca-Cola holder on it. And then there's one more. Huh? Well, it's actually Dr. Pepper. There, Jason, I thought, here it goes. Look at that. The piggy. That's some OG stuff right there. I got a sweet little gut going right there. I don't really look that way. All right.
The funky chicken.
That funky chicken ran into that piggy. So that was the story. I cut the funky chicken's head off, as you can see, and then he cut the tail off the piggy. But I had the tail on these rates that allowed me to have elevons, and I flipped the switch and landed the piggy on the runway.
Nice.
Now, did you have your ponytail?
Yeah, I was in a ponytail at the time.
Okay. When's the last time you actually cut your hair?
I cut it about every 2 years, and I'm due any second now.
First time I've ever seen you in shorts.
Yeah, I quit wearing shorts because I decided it looked like strings were hanging out of there. I was like, why? And then here's the first profile that really made the profiles come to life. The Morris profile. Just a little blast from the past here. All right. Stopping.
I missed the Sledge 540, man.
Yeah.
That was a good airplane.
There's discussion right now. I was on the ProBro site, and they're talking about what can be bought, where can you buy it, and who has some kits that they want to sell. And
nice.
Like the Chinyak, the files were lost. The hard drive's gone.
Ugh.
He just lost them.
Wow.
Well, hey, everyone, I got to say, this was one of my favorite podcasts in a long time. We had a great crew. We had talked. What? An egg?
Yeah.
Is it your chicken food?
No, our chicken just laid that about 15 minutes ago. It's still warm.
Still warm.
So I don't know. Let me talk about. We talked chickens earlier. That chicken. What kind of chicken did that come from?
I think
A copper marin, which is a crazy looking chicken. First of all, it's got fuzzy feet, but anyway, very, very dark brown. I don't know if you can. She has chickens that lay blue eggs and green eggs, and they're called Easter eggers.
Nice.
So she buys chickens specifically for the color of their eggs. That's the very, very dark egg, and then we've got normal brown ones, and then we've got green ones, and then blue ones. And I don't think we have any white ones. We don't have any chickens that lay white eggs.
You could do a Norman egg drop.
And Norman has a bomb drop in him, so yeah, we could do that. We used to drop little Easter eggs that were black and white. They're supposed to be soccer balls, but we called them cow balls. And we used to drop those from Norman with streamers on them. But anyway, she just brought that egg in, so I thought you might get a kick out of our very, very dark colored egg.
Nice. Well, I want to thank everybody for showing up and taking time, especially Mark and Lane and Nick too. All of y'all are special guests this week. Yeah. I think we had a great talk. Mark's going to have a killer show next week, so if you can make it, head on down and tell him that RC Group sent you. Jason will be down there taking pictures and mostly flying, I bet, from the pool.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you, Jason.
Yeah, man. Back
Nick,
at you.
What you got going? Anything?
I've got a couple reviews, guy. I got the Groppner MZ32 to take a look at, and then I have a new goggle from Hobby King.
Oh yeah. So maybe next week we'll get you on and you can show us that MZ.
Possibly, yep.
Is it in your hands?
No, I'm at work.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep.
All right. We'll look forward to that next week. Also, we will not have a report from Jason because he will not have gone to that show yet, but he'll be getting ready. Lane, have fun with the chickens and don't get hurt out over there.
Yeah, if anybody's in Sioux Falls next week, I'll be in Sioux Falls Monday through Monday. So Sioux Falls, South Dakota, look me up.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone out there who joined us live and who's going to join us in the future. And if you joined us in the past, that's just weird. I'm Jim T. Graham, your host. Thanks to our podcast sponsor, Hobby King at hobbyking.com. Go check them out. Thanks for their support all these years. Big time. Thank you. It's time to get on with the weekend and don't get too hot out there. And now I'm hitting the button. Y'all simmer down now.
Later.